When the toughest woman in WWE was forced to give up her championship, her husband's reaction shocked everyone. Seth Rollins is furious, and what he just said backstage has the entire wrestling world talking. This is the emotional fallout that nobody saw coming. What's up, Wrestling-verse family? Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the moments that matter most in professional wrestling. If you're new here, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell because we're about to break down one of the most emotional stories in recent WWE history. Today, we're talking about Seth Rollins and his reaction to his wife, Becky Lynch, being forced to relinquish the Women's Championship due to injury. This isn't just a wrestling story. This is a real-life couple dealing with heartbreak, frustration, and anger. And Seth's response has revealed a side of him we rarely see. Let's break down what happened, why Seth is so furious, and what this means for both of their futures in WWE. Before we talk about Seth's reaction, we need to understand the context of what happened to Becky Lynch, because it's absolutely devastating. Becky Lynch is the man. She's one of the biggest stars in all of WWE, male or female. She main evented WrestleMania. She's held multiple championships. She's broken barriers and inspired millions of fans around the world. She's fought through every obstacle, every challenge, every person who ever doubted her. But there's one opponent you can't beat with willpower alone: your own body. Becky suffered an injury that made it impossible for her to defend her championship. Under WWE rules, if you can't compete, you can't hold the title. So she had to do something no champion ever wants to do. She had to walk to that ring and give up her championship without losing it in a match. The emotion in that moment was real. You could see it in Becky's eyes. This wasn't a storyline. This was a fighter being forced to surrender the thing she fought hardest for. Not because she wasn't good enough. Not because someone beat her. But because her body said no more. For someone as tough, as proud, as driven as Becky Lynch, that moment was soul-crushing. She's built her entire career on never giving up, never backing down, never letting anyone take what's hers. And suddenly, through no fault of her own, she had to give it all up. That would be devastating for anyone. But imagine watching the person you love go through that pain. Imagine being Seth Rollins, watching your wife, your partner, your best friend have to surrender her dreams. That's where this story really begins. Seth Rollins is no stranger to adversity himself. He's dealt with career-threatening injuries. He's been betrayed by friends. He's faced some of the darkest moments professional wrestling can throw at you. He knows what it's like to fight through pain, to overcome obstacles, to come back stronger. But watching someone you love go through that same pain, that's different. That's harder. Because you can't fix it. You can't wrestle the injury for them. You can't take their place. All you can do is watch and support them, even when it tears you apart inside. According to reports from backstage sources, Seth Rollins was visibly upset after Becky's relinquishment. And, upset, might be putting it mildly. Witnesses described him as furious, frustrated, and barely holding it together emotionally. Seth was reportedly pacing backstage, clearly angry at the situation. Not at Becky, but at the circumstances. At the unfairness of it all. At the fact that someone as talented and dedicated as his wife had to give up her title without even getting the fight she deserved. There were reports of Seth confronting WWE officials, demanding to know what could be done. Asking questions about timelines, about Becky's recovery, about when she could come back. He was in full protective husband mode, wanting answers, wanting solutions, wanting anything that could make this situation better. But the reality is, there are no easy answers. Injuries don't work on our schedule. Bodies don't heal faster just because we want them to. And championships have to be defended. Those are the harsh realities of professional wrestling. One source close to the situation said Seth was overheard saying something along the lines of how unfair it is that Becky worked so hard to get to the top, only to have it taken away by something completely out of her control. He was frustrated that she didn't even get a proper farewell match, a chance to go out on her shield like a warrior should. That frustration is understandable. Seth has been with Becky through her entire rise. He's seen the sacrifices she's made. The injuries she's wrestled through. The pain she's endured. The criticism she's faced. He's seen everything it took for her to become the man. And now, To watch it all slip away in an instant. That would make anyone furious. So why is Seth so angry? Let's break down the layers of emotion he's dealing with. First, there's the helplessness. Seth Rollins is one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's a problem solver. He's someone who faces challenges head on and overcomes them. But in this situation, there's nothing he can do. He can't fix Becky's injury. He can't change WWE's rules. He can't make this better no matter how much he wants to. That helplessness, especially for someone as action-oriented as Seth, is maddening. Second, there's empathy. Seth knows exactly what Becky is feeling because he's been there himself. He's had to sit on the sidelines due to injury. He's felt that frustration, that sense of lost time, that fear that maybe you'll never get back to where you were. Watching someone you love go through that same experience brings all those emotions flooding back. Third, there's protective instinct. This is his wife, his partner, the mother of his child. Every fiber of his being wants to protect her from pain, from disappointment, from heartbreak. But he can't protect her from this. And that inability to shield her from suffering is eating him alive. Fourth, there's anger at the system. WWE has rules, and those rules exist for good reasons. But when those rules hurt someone you love, it's hard not to resent them. Seth might understand logically why Becky had to relinquish the title, but emotionally, he's furious that the system couldn't make an exception, couldn't find another way, couldn't give Becky the ending she deserved. Finally, there's fear. Fear that the injury might be worse than they're saying. Fear that recovery might take longer than expected. Fear that Becky might never be quite the same when she comes back. Those fears are natural, especially for someone who's dealt with serious injuries himself. All these emotions swirling together create the fury that people witnessed backstage. This isn't just anger. This is love expressed through frustration. This is partnership manifested as protective rage. Now let's talk about what this means for both Seth and Becky moving forward. For Becky, having Seth's support during this difficult time is invaluable. Recovery from injury is as much mental as it is physical. Having someone in your corner who understands the business, who's been through similar struggles, who believes in your ability to come back stronger, that makes all the difference. Seth's fury, his refusal to accept this as the end of Becky's story, his determination to see her return to glory, all of that positive energy will help fuel her recovery. She's not going through this alone. She has a partner who's just as invested in her comeback as she is. For Seth himself, this situation might affect his own wrestling. Some performers channel personal frustration into their work. They become more aggressive in the ring, more intense in their promos, more driven to prove something. We might see a different Seth Rollins in the coming weeks, one who's wrestling with a chip on his shoulder, with something to prove. On the other hand, this could be a distraction. Worry about Becky's health and recovery might affect his focus. He might be more cautious in the ring, more aware of how one wrong move can change everything. That awareness could make him wrestle differently, perhaps more carefully. There's also the possibility that Seth becomes an advocate for change. Maybe this situation motivates him to push WWE to reconsider how they handle injured champions. Maybe he becomes a voice for wrestlers who feel like the system doesn't always protect them or give them fair treatment. As a couple, this is a test of their relationship. Not every couple can handle the pressure that comes with both partners being high-level professional athletes. The injuries, the schedules, the disappointments, the constant pressure, it strains even the strongest relationships. But Seth and Becky have always seemed to make it work. They understand each other's world because they live in the same world. They support each other's ambitions because they share similar goals. And in moments like this, when one of them is down, the other steps up. Seth's fury isn't a negative thing. It's proof of how much he cares. It's evidence of a partnership that's real, that's deep, that goes beyond just being coworkers who happen to be married. Let's also consider what happens when Becky returns, because she will return. The man doesn't stay down for long. When Becky comes back from this injury, fully healed and ready to reclaim what's hers, she'll have a story that resonates with every fan who's ever faced adversity. She'll be the warrior who was knocked down and got back up. The champion who lost everything and fought to get it back. And Seth will be there every step of the way. Supporting her. Believing in her. Maybe even helping her in storylines. There's potential for some incredible storytelling when Becky returns, with Seth by her side, ready to help her wage war on anyone who stands in her way. Imagine the promos. Imagine Becky talking about what she lost and what she's going to take back, with Seth standing behind her, nodding in agreement, adding his own intensity to the message. That's powerful television. Imagine if someone tries to keep Becky from a title shot when she returns, and Seth gets involved, demanding that his wife get the opportunities she deserves. That conflict could create amazing drama. Or imagine a mixed tag team match where Seth and Becky team up, fighting side by side, showing the WWE universe that they're stronger together than they ever were apart. The possibilities are endless, and they all stem from this moment of genuine emotion, genuine frustration, genuine fury. Here's what WWE should do with this situation. They should acknowledge it. They should show Seth struggling with what happened to Becky. They should let him cut promos about it. They should let this real emotion inform his character work. Authenticity connects with audiences. When fans see real emotion, real relationships, real stakes, they invest more deeply in the stories. Seth's fury over Becky's situation is authentic. It's real. And that makes it valuable from a storytelling perspective. They should also document Becky's recovery journey. Show her working hard to come back. Show Seth supporting her. Show the challenges, the setbacks, the small victories. That human element makes both of them more relatable and more compelling. And when Becky does return, make it mean something. Don't just have her show up one week like nothing happened. Build to it. Create anticipation. Make her comeback feel like the major moment it deserves to be. Seth Rollins' fury over Becky Lynch having to relinquish her championship is a reminder that behind every wrestler is a real person with real emotions. This isn't just a storyline. This is a husband watching his wife deal with heartbreak and being powerless to fix it. That anger, that frustration, that protective instinct, it's all rooted in love. And there's something beautiful about that, even in the midst of something so difficult. Becky will be back. She's too tough, too determined, too much of a fighter to let this be the end of her story. And when she returns, with Seth in her corner, she's going to be more dangerous than ever. This is just another chapter in both of their incredible journeys. And like all the best wrestling stories, it's the struggles, the setbacks, the moments of genuine emotion that make the eventual triumph so much sweeter. Alright, Wrestling-verse family, I want to hear from you. Do you think Seth's reaction shows how much he truly cares? How do you think this situation will affect him in the ring? Are you excited for Becky's eventual return? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this breakdown resonated with you, show some love by hitting that like button. Subscribe to Wrestling-verse CC if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our deep dives into the stories that matter. Share this video with anyone who appreciates the real human stories behind professional wrestling. Let's grow this community of passionate fans who understand that wrestling is more than just moves and matches. This has been Wrestling-verse CC. Until next time, keep supporting the wrestlers who give everything for our entertainment, and remember that behind every superstar is a real person with real struggles and real triumphs. We'll see you in the next one.